Hey guys, it's Dr. Dobson, and this video we're going to go over the technique that I like to use for internal bleaching. So this is a 1-2 that had sterile necrosis from an impact decades prior, and this is the result that we ended up with. So we'll go over that. I'm also going to announce my Patreon in this video. It's up, it's live now. There's 2 videos on it, a clinic tour and a huge all-on-6 implant case that we did. Here's some footage of the implant case here. Terminal dentition. So we did the immediate surgery, extracted everything, placed 6 implants. This was the after 3 months, and then the fixture installation. Made everything in house. Here's the pans that we took. There's just some footage of the surgery itself. And all that's up there. It's a really long video, but I put a lot of work into it. So, it's I think $20 Canadian a month. All the money is going to be going to a pro bono case fund that I'll do for Patreon alone as well. That hopefully it will generate enough that we can do some life-changing work for people at no charge is the idea. Anyway, we did also included the manufacturing of the bridge in the office there, which I do, and that's pretty much that case. So this video is going to be a 1-2 internal bleaching, and basically the technique that I do is I'll tell somebody that has a gray front tooth that we can turn this back to how it looked before it changed color if you want us to, and if they want to go ahead with it, then we take an alginate impression. We'll have them back after a week or so because we need to make a tray, a custom tray, and then I'll actually just drill a hole in the tooth, drill an access hole, removing the material that would have been placed from the endo, and then I'll send it home with a hole in the tooth, and I'll give them a tray like this and a couple syringes of Poladay, 9.5% hydrogen peroxide, and I'll usually give them a monojet as well and say, fill up the access cavity with the gel, a few times a day, leave it there for 10 minutes, rinse it out, spit. Actually, after you fill out the cavity, put this tray on it, leave it for 10 minutes, spit everything out. You can do that, as many times as you want, in a day until it's the right color. And they can do it in a day if they want. They can do it, throughout the week. I'll usually give them a week to do it, say it's their homework. And then as soon as it's the right color, come back and we'll fill in the access cavity. So that's basically all we do. Going to do a couple of buccal class 5s the patient requested once we did the 1-2. Usually they'll look at other things and be like, oh, well, can you cover this up? So we did that as well. But this is basically, I didn't record the prep appointment, but this tooth, obviously sterile necrosis from prior trauma, actually did not have an endo, and you'll see the x-ray. But you basically just drill an access into the thing and then give the patient instructions. I usually do the first application in the chair before sending them home for the week to do the rest of it themselves. And in the chair, I will usually etch for 5 seconds, rinse dry thoroughly, and then apply like an in-office bleach, so like a very strong one, to get it going. And then I'll tell them to do the rest at home, give them a monojet, tell them to rinse the access out, dry it thoroughly, get a partner to do it ideally if they can. And it works really well. I have no problem telling people that have gray teeth from trauma or endo that we can turn it, whiter than the rest of them if you want us to. So this is basically just the finishing appointment. So this was the access cavity that we drilled, and I think we're just picking some last goodies out here. Just gonna rough up the surface before we etch and restore with Equia Forte. I actually did also restore the buccal restoration just because it was too white, and so we just did that when we made the access cavity as well. Yeah, and this was the tray just for demonstration purposes. We also actually add a little bit of blockout material to the buccal surface of the model before we do the vacuforming, so that they can put some whitening gel on the buccal surface of the tooth as well, just to get it white, or as white as they want it. But most of it comes from the internal bleaching. So we're basically just going to fill it back up here. Going to etch, rinse dry, and then fill it up with Equia Forte. And that's basically that's the exciting bit from this case. The quad 2 buckles are going to be boring and routine, no freezing. So here comes the Equia Forte, and same as always, we'll overfill it, pack it with a cotton pellet, leave it for 5 minutes, and then come back and trim it flush. So the class 5s on the quad 2, 2.2, 2.3, we're just going to pumice, no cord, no prepping, etch 5 seconds, rinse off, dry it, and then glob on a bunch of Fuji 2. I don't think I took a before after macro of these ones, but patient looked at them and said, "Can you do this?" And I'll usually say, anytime we're doing any kind of aesthetic work in the anterior region, I'll say, like, they're going to start to be more nitpicky about what they see, because this probably wouldn't have been something that they would have even noticed before we did the internal bleaching of the 1-2. But once they start looking at things, and they'll sometimes want certain things done. So yeah, trimming back the buckles of the quad 2 teeth here. This is pretty much all just routine stuff. You can use a fine diamond first, and then a flame, and then I think we'll probably use a disc as well. No cord, so we're probably going to irritate the gums a little bit here and there. And I don't really have a macro of these, so I'm not sure it's really even worth showing. This is just pretty routine stuff here. But do feel free to check out the Patreon. Like I say, there's a clinic tour of my office here in Nelson, British Columbia, small town, BC, and that huge lower all on 6 case, which we concluded, and we put that video together. Me and Francisco did a bunch of work on it, so I hope you enjoy it if you're interested in implant cases like that. Just finishing up these class 5s before we varnish them with some unfilled resin bonding agent. Yeah. And thanks again, as always, for tuning in to these videos. And just going to finish up the 1-2 now that that's probably finished. It looks like we did the quad 2 as the quad 1 was setting. But yeah, thank you very much.